Howdy. Welcome back to Dion Talk. Is the middle class disappearing? Short answer, yes. And I wish I could say that was the whole story.
But not today.
Today, I'm going to explain the rest of the story to the doomers out there. The people who seem to watch a lot of crash videos because a recession is coming, a housing crash is coming, the Spice Girls are having a reunion, and other tragic things that can happen. And it seems like there's a lot of people who want to watch those types of videos. So when it comes to something like, is the middle class disappearing? Most people, because I'm actually going to show you a chart here that proves that it is, will focus on this part of it. They will say, there are more people becoming poorer. And that's accurate. And they really focus on that. And so when you hear people talk about the middle class disappearing, it seems like people focus on the rich get richer and the poor get poorer, and now there are more poor people. So you have a choice. You can either hate the game or learn the rules. I'm actually going to explain how I kind of skipped being middle class, because when it comes to the different types of income, and we don't really have a class system, but we have an income scale. People who make the lowest amount, people who make the middle, which is why I call it middle class, income bracket, and then the high income earners. The idea for me is I went from a really bad position to financially free in less than 10 years to where I never have to work again in my life. I found myself at 40, a single parent, laid off from a police department because of the 2008 housing crash. Because, when there's a recession and a housing crash, we don't have any more crime, so we don't need cops anymore. And I got laid off at the same time as a bunch of other qualified officers. I found out about $89,000 in bad debt in my name that I didn't know existed until the divorce. I started teaching people how to drive trucks, making $17 an hour. And as a single parent with 3 kids, I was still able to go from what I consider poor, $17 an hour with a lot of bad debt, raising 3 kids by yourself, in my mind, puts me in that low income bracket. I never really wanted to be part of the middle class, because what a lot of people don't understand is the actual difference between poor people, middle class, and upper income earners isn't how much money you have or how much money you make. It's actually what you think the purpose of money is. Poor people think the purpose of money is to buy things, so they work really hard to get the money to buy the things. The middle class, that class that I tried to skip, think that the purpose of money is leverage. So they want a good credit score so they can get a big house and a nice car and have people think they are successful with a lot of bad debt. The real difference between the poor middle class and the wealthy people, that upper income earner class, is that they know the purpose of money is to make money. So if we look at this chart, I can actually prove with using this data that the middle class is disappearing. In 1971, the middle class was represented by 61% of the population in the United States. That has now dropped to 50%, so it is getting smaller. And to back up the doomers' idea that everything is always bad and let's all stare at the train wreck because we can't look away, things have to be negative, the number of people in the United States in the lower income bracket went from 25% in 1971 to 29% now. So it's grown. They're actually right. There are more poor people and there is less middle class. If that was the whole story, I would agree with them. Let's take a step back and look at the entire chart. And I want to show you what's going on in that upper income cohort. In 1971, 14% of people were in the upper income bracket. Now it's increased to 21%. That's a 50% increase in the number of people that are in the upper income bracket. Now, some of the people in the lower income bracket, they could be making less, or they could be making the same and they didn't keep up with inflation. But even making more and keeping up with inflation, the number of people that are in this upper income bracket has increased by 50%, the largest change in any one of these brackets. At the beginning of this video, I talked about you have a choice. You can hate the game or you can learn the rules. What I try to help people understand is that you are going to be alive in 5 years. You should start investing now like that was real. So when you hear people talking about the middle class is disappearing, if you're the type of person that sits back and says, the rich are getting richer, the poor are getting poorer, and now there are more poor people, you might be setting yourself up to sit back and think, I have an excuse to do nothing because the game sucks and I hate the game. Or you can sit back like I did and build wealth over a period of time. It doesn't happen overnight. It took me a decade to reach financial freedom, to get out of the bad debt, and to get to the point where I think I've done the best thing that I can do for my kids. Because a lot of people think for your kids, the best thing you can do is give them everything that you didn't have or give them a good inheritance. And that's not actually my goal. My goal for my kids that they have now, that they weren't going to have when I found myself at 40, that divorced single parent with a lot of bad debt, not making a lot of money. Now that I've reached financial freedom and I retired early last year and never have to work again in my life, not only will my kids inherit a few $1,000,000 each, but I am not going to become a financial burden to them. And to me, that's the best thing I can do for them. I hope this video has at least made you think. Until my next video, thanks for coming to my Dion Talk.
We're sorry, the number you have dialed is not in service at this time.